Hello everybody, this is SB Bro Brad, and today I'll be talking about the third James Bond movie in the Eon Productions James Bond series, as we've been doing our James Bond Tuesdays, and it is the 7th novel written by Ian Fleming, and it is Goldfinger. Goldfinger is now directed by Guy Hamilton, which replaces Terrence Young, who would return back for another movie after this, with Guy Hamilton doing 3 more movies as well. This movie was a massive hit, as both Dr. No and From Russia with Love were big hits on their own. This movie was huge, and the reason for this is that they targeted American markets for the release of this movie. So they actually had more locations in America in this movie rather than the first two. This movie was a juggernaut, surpassing the first two in its budget and making over $1.5 billion if you adjust for inflation. This movie was so huge they had to run cinemas for 24 hours when it came out in America. There's people going crazy for this movie, and rightfully so, because I will say, and I agree, I think this might be the best James Bond movie ever made. The reason why I think so far this is going to be the best James Bond film ever made is because, first, Sean Connery is excellent as James Bond. This is the best I have seen him in so far, as he really captures that persona, that espionage feel, the maturity, the really cool, stylistic guy that we all know James Bond to be. He is really good in the first two, but in this one, this is the peak of James Bond, and this is what I would consider the benchmark of how cool and great James Bond is. The rest of the cast is great as well. You have Jerk Frobe that's playing Goldfinger, and he is an excellent villain that is just super cool, and I'm really concerned why we haven't gotten another version of Goldfinger, because apparently this might be his only take in any of the Bond movies so far, but I really want to see another adaptation of Goldfinger. We also have Honor Blackman, who actually tragically passed away earlier this year. She played Pussy Galore, and she is a really great character in this one. The performance is great, having this cool, sassy that really doesn't take crap from Bond and tries to equally match him. And I thought that she really added a lot to this movie and actually made a great help to Bond. The action in this one is way more prevalent, as they had a bigger budget than both for the first two combined. They seemed like they were able to do more of the gadgets, the spy gear, the action, the cars, the guns, the hand-to-hand combat sequences were all doubled in this movie, and it made for a more entertaining, more fast-paced, and a better flowing movie than we had in the first two. Bob Simmons, the stunt coordinator, actually came back after missing From Russia with Love, and you can see that the action sequences are really good in this movie, and how some of it may be very cheesy now and a little outdated, but give them the credit for its time. It was really great, considering it was the 60s. They didn't really have anything else to really work off of. Production design is incredible in this movie, and Adam is back, as he was a part of the first film and actually missed the second one. You can see that his work is fantastic, especially in the climax scene when they're inside the fort. Knox did a really awesome job of creating what would it potentially look like with the gold bricks standing on top of each other, flowing everywhere. It is one of my favorite sets of the whole franchise so far, and I think it might not get beat for that. The music is fantastic in this movie, as the score was done by John Barry. He actually adds a little bit of heavy brass along with Shirley Bassey's performance, the theme from Dr. No, all combined together to making his own score, and it's for a really creative and stylistic score that is truly tremendous. Shirley Bassey's Goldfinger rendition is amazing. It's considered by many Bond fans to be the best Bond opening sequence song, and it was truly amazing, beautiful, it's really catchy, it's sexy, and I love everything about it. The direction in this film by Guy Hamilton is really good in this movie. He does really capture all the great action sequences so well. There are some really great, awesome moments in this movie, especially capturing the shot of the Golden Lady, which is one of my favorite shots that I've seen so far in this series. Sound and sound mixing are fantastic. It actually won an Academy Award for Best Sound Editing, because you have the explosions, you have the gunfight sequences, you have the punching, you have this scene right here.
Hello. Felix, say hello to Dink.
Hi, Dink.
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
All really great sound effects that really add to the nostalgia, the classic feel of this movie. The story in this movie is very simple. It's not as good as From Russia with Love, but also this one has more of the fantasy elements in this movie, where you have a lot of the spying, you have a lot of the cool gadgets, you have the great action sequences, and really focuses on the villain, on what he is trying to accomplish, having the good guy, going after him. It's a very basic formula that we've seen quite a bit nowadays, but this was the big movie to do it, making this movie the big James Bond blockbuster and really capturing this simplistic plot that worked perfectly in this movie. If I have some negatives with this movie, it's going to be some of the silliness. I mean, it's going to be one of those things that it's going to be in some of these older movies that it doesn't hold up as well, and that's just what's going to happen with these, just because they were low budget, they were these fun, great spy movies that really were for its time. And so watching it now, it doesn't hold up like a lot of other classic movies have in the 30s and the 40s, but that is kind of its charm and nostalgia for it, and so many action sequences have been done so much better. This is kind of one of the first to really capture all those elements and make them so great. Also, this has been in every single movie so far, the sexualization of women. I feel as though that it's a little more prevalent in this movie. There's a lot more Bond girls in this movie. They don't really have much to do except Pussy Galore, which she is great. I really enjoy that character. Everybody else doesn't really matter. Bond in this movie really has this thing where he just has to kiss and basically sexualize every single woman and try to all get in their pants. It was a little annoying in this movie. I bet probably people like it, and it was definitely 100% for its time. The last thing is some of the editing isn't really that great in this movie. There are some shots that, especially in the action, where it's just cut not the right way, and it's very noticeable, and I feel like the editing just wasn't that sharp. But again, I don't know if they really knew how to edit and put together these action sequences, so it's very early action filmmaking with editing, and so you gotta give a little bit of credit for that. Overall, I think this is a fantastic movie. I think it's definitely one of my favorite Bond movies so far. I think there's so much charisma, there's so much excitement. It definitely feels like there's different energy in this movie, and it could be with the bigger budget, it could be with the story, but everything just seems to work so much better in this movie. I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10. Let me know, guys, have you guys seen Goldfinger? Is it the best Bond film? Let me know down below what you guys think about it. As always, please like and share the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world to me. You guys are liking my videos. Subscribe to my channel. You guys are the best. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video.